place for the Celtics and got a big cheer. He, as you know, Bill, he almost made the team. You know? And ended up playing with the Warriors. He was a terrific guy. He was very, I enjoyed that. But, we grabbed him. But I think the best draft of all, as far as doing the right thing, was in 1982. We drafted Landon Turner, who had been in that terrible accident in Indiana. And Bill Fitch got on the speakerphone and said the Celtics draft Landon Turner with pride.
Was that Auerbach's decision?
No, it was actually Fitch's decision at a request from Bobby Knight.
Wow, I always thought it was Auerbach's, like reading the article. I was fascinated by that. It was such a classy move.
Oh, it was Bill all the way. Of course, some of that, we had situations where, Red would come in about the 6th round and said, I don't care who you pick as long as they're east of the Mississippi. Because you used to have to fly them in for the training camp, and of course, those days we were at Marshfield. So, I mean, and by the time, don't forget, when you're the last pick, there's not much there, but, the Celtics did. I remember in 58, when they drafted Sam Jones, and everybody in the league said, who in God's name is this? Because he wasn't on anybody's list. And actually, the Celtics had a player in the early 50s named Bones McKinney. And Bones is the one that suggested to Red that he draft this kid Jones because he could play. And I'll never forget, we opened the season at the Boston Garden on a Saturday afternoon against Syracuse. And they had the first round pick, and they picked Connie Durkin. And Paul Seymour was the coach. Paul's a great guy, but he's kind of temperamental, hot-tempered guy. So we put, we were winning the game big. Connie Durkin is kind of, first game, he was sticking up the joint. So late in the game, Red decided to put Sam in. And Sam had like 5 jumpers in a row. And so Paul Seymour left his seat on the bench and starts walking towards Red. And we knew, because there was 5,000 people in the ballpark. And we didn't know what was going to happen there, because Seymour, he went over to Red and said, hey, Red, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But it was a lot of fun in those days, because it was a surprise to everybody, because there wasn't the TV, and of course, now it's a science that they've got guys checking on all these guys, and they know. But I'll tell you another thing, you talked to Bill Fitch. When we sent out our scouts to scout players under Fitch, there were traditional 10 questions that they all asked: height, weight, speed, shooting ability, that. Fitch had an 11th question, and he wanted it answered. And the question was this: is the kid good to his mother? And that says a lot. So those are some of the great stories.
How early do you go back? Like, what year were you part of, the decision making?
Well, actually, I was making the phone calls in 81.
81, okay.
Yeah, so I did it for, I did it from 81 to 90-something, and but, it was a foregone conclusion, no surprises, because people could watch it on TV at that time.
So you didn't draft me, John? You're responsible for me not getting drafted by the Celtics.
We saw you play.
John, doesn't matter how I played, I looked good.
Well, a lot of times, I remember I went to Red because I had a friend at Fairfield. His kid was graduating. He was a fair player, no superstar. But the kid wanted to be a coach and, phys ed teacher and so forth. So Red drafted him 10th under one condition. Red said, I don't want to see him. But when the kid made out his resume, he could put, drafted by the Boston Celtics. And, so...
It's funny you mentioned Connie Durkin. You know how, like, when you get your first autographs and stuff like that? When I was a kid, back then, the teams used to play doubleheaders.
Right.
In Philadelphia Arena. I was out there with the Wilt Chamberlain, Joe Grabowski, Paul Ayers, and so on. And they were going to play Cincinnati in the second game of the doubleheader. And Connie Durkin came standing. They didn't draw big crowds in Philadelphia at that point either. Connie Dearkin came out and he saw I had a program. I said, "Would you mind signing that, sir?" So he said, "May I read it first?" He didn't know what was said about him in the program. He hadn't seen him in the program before. He's a really nice guy. University of Cincinnati, I want to say, but.
He played with Oscar Robinson and Jack Twyman.
You know who played with Oscar Robinson, by the way? You know who would have played with him?
Who?
Sandy Koufax.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's
In what, in high school?
not college. Basketball, Cincinnati.
Wow.
Yeah, well, you know, we had a lot of laughs with it, I'll tell you that. And, of course, you have to bring them all in, and a lot of them, as you know, Bill went to Marshfield.
Oh, absolutely. It was great days. The heydays of Marshfield, that's for sure. Because there's always a Celtic side. Somebody say, "Oh, I saw Bill Russell down at the Dairy Queen," or whatever it may have been.
Oh, I remember my wife and I were with M.L. Cowell when he was down there and announced his retirement.
Yep.
And some basketball. And my wife was saying now we went to friendlies and he did pick up the tab.
Really?
He said he was unemployed, but he'd pick up the tab anyway.
He was a remarkable guy.
He's a real good guy. You know, it was a mistake to make him coach, but he was a really nice guy.
When Cedric Maxwell was a rookie, and Greg used to send me in there to wake him up in the cabins. You remember this story, John?
What?
I don't know if I told this story before. When Cedric Maxwell was a rookie, he only knew two things: Logan's Airport and the Marshfield Fair.
Cedric was a very interesting guy because I remember in '86, was it '86? No, '81, when we won the championship. He was the MVP of the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
Everybody thought Larry would get it. Cedric got it. So they asked Cedric what he was going to do. Well, he said, since we won the playoffs and I get a few extra bucks, I'm going to construction down in North Carolina. So what do we do? You're going to be a construction worker? Oh, no, he says, I'm going to go down and watch people work. And he did, by the way.
Bob Brown and Red used to send me into those little cabins to wake him up. That was his first year, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, the cabins are like, the beds are like about 5'10", and he was about 6'10", so a little bit of a Cedric hung up on each end of the bed. And those things, you look inside, it was like a fun house, you know. They're like 48 jock straps, 3 guys sleeping, and no lights on. And so you look inside there, the darkened room, and I kept waking up, and when Mr. Maxwell, breakfast was being served, it was like 10:30. Oh man, Wilhelm, you asked me everything I know. No question, it's time to get up. Okay. Next day, same thing, I was going to wake him up. He switched ends of the bed so his feet were hanging out onto his feet.
The funny story from camp, I remember the dog choice was in 1969-70 season. So this would have been August of '69. The Celtics made a deal with the Lakers, and they picked up Henry Finkel.
Oh, yeah.
So Red calls me up, and he's all delighted because as he said, he got one of his own. Henry Finkel, meant of the Jewish faith. So he called me up, and as you know, Bill, I was a priest at the time in Saugus, and he asked me if I'd bring Finkel down. I said, well, I have the 7 o'clock evening mass, so he said, I don't care as long as you're here Monday morning. Okay, I said, okay, I'll take care of that. So I'm going to the airport, and of course, I didn't know Henry personally, but 7'1", you pick him up pretty good in the crowd. So I took him up to the airport, and I'm telling him who I am and so forth. And he said he'd seen me, you know, when the Lakers came to Boston and so forth. He didn't know me, and I didn't know him. So anyway, I told him we got to go back to the rectory. I got to say the 7 o'clock mass. And Henry said, "Oh, that's good, Father." He said, "Because I haven't been to church yet." Hank was a German Catholic, so I said, "Oh, boy," because Red thinks he's got a Jewish kid coming. So anyway, I have it. We come down to our house, and then I bring him in, and during the day there was a scrimmage, and Red's talking about Hank. Just look at this guy, boom, boom, boom. So they had Mike Lynch, the commentator, sports commentator, was the referee. And there was a foul, and Hank went to the line, and Hank goes and makes the sign of the cross. Red almost ate his cigar.
Oh, man. Hey, John, you got a prediction or two for us?
Yeah, I got the Red Sox will designate Campiano for assignment, and the Fords